Hey, Tyguy versus Robey in the elimination stage. This is the upper bracket. Robey with the Kushan pick, and Tyguy. I think Tyguy's playing Higaran. So this is the first player who's actually decided to lock in on Higaran. Every other Higaran we've seen so far, actually, I think there was a lower bracket player who might have been playing Higaran. But otherwise, they've all been accidental Higaran picks by playing random or something like that. So we'll see how this one plays out for him. He has been labbing quite a lot, I think he has anyway. I've been seeing him in game against like AIs and stuff. So I believe that Tyguy has got some stuff cooking. So this is obviously Tyguy over here. I do like his colour scheme more than I did before. Like I feel like it's growing on me a bit. You know, it's like one of those things that you see at first step, it's like ugh, but maybe it's an acquired taste. Then again, at most it's mediocre. Anyway, I need to surrender so I can actually see his opponent. Because over here, in the copycat colours, well actually it's a red stripe now, both S and Robey tried to copy my colour scheme. Because I kept complaining about their colours, so they just changed to my colours so I couldn't complain. But I like Robey's colours now, you know, the black and red. That's a winning combination, that's a classic. God, it looks so much better. Anyway, Robey with the Kushan lock-in. I think this is the first Kushan lock-in outside of lower bracket that we've seen as well. Now Robey obviously with massive miscontrol in his collectors here. On Armed for Burial, your mothership starts here, and as Kushan or Higaran, when you move over here, you need to get your collectors moving back and around. So basically, he's actually a huge margin out of this game at the moment. You know, he's significantly behind. He hasn't even really started mining. Huh. He actually looks really far behind. Like, look how much Tyguy is mining already. That's brutal. So Robey, yeah, quite far behind. He makes 4 probes as well. So, I feel like he's overmade on probes just a little bit. It is very important to get probes on Armed for Burial because you do have these 2 central dust clouds, which I think is a really good design. Like, I want to see more maps with dividing dust clouds like this because you have to play vision wars then, and it's like an extra dynamic to the game. Robey with the forward scout though. I do believe that Tyguy just about sees the scout. Oh, Tyguy manages to see this probe. Is that out of the cloud or something? Huh. That's interesting. It must be... It looks like it's in the cloud though, right? I wonder how he managed to see that probe. Well, it goes down. So Robey losing control of this dust cloud, although I wouldn't say that Tyguy has control of it. Scouts actually don't see that great in dust clouds. So most of the maps we're playing in this tournament are actually 3v3 maps. That I need to do this. Options, video. Dun, dun, dun. Someone told me if I turn this off, you can see the resource patches a lot better, and you can, look at that. So yeah, I don't have to use my ALK selector every single time now. You can kind of see them. They're kind of small though, but I think it's better, right? But yeah, this is obviously a 3v3 map that we're just using in this tournament as a 1v1 in these positions. I think it works out pretty well. Generally you can just chop this top half of the map off, and it's this section that players end up playing in. Honestly, these patches up here are kind of rare to take. Especially this patch here. I don't really feel like people ever take this patch, but because it's quite a small patch and it's really hard to hold. I don't know why you'd ever go for that one instead of one of these ones, like this one, or there's one here, etc. So, also pretty interesting to see that Robey didn't take this patch for some reason. I'm not really sure why. He took his first patch and then went all the way over here for his second patch, whereas Tyguy obviously went 1, 2, and then 3 over here. So Tyguy probably with several thousand RUs in the lead at this point, I'd say. Robey with some attack bombers, although this is definitely not enough attack bombers to actually kill anything. Even a refinery will shrug this off. Definitely doesn't want to go now, probably wants to wait until he's got 10 or so. But even then, you know, there's gunships on the field. I'm expecting Tyguy to go for the gunship torpedo frigate composition. But Robey, you know, he's not waiting, he's going in right now with a very small amount of bombers. One of these bombers already at half health. The gunship's coming in now, they don't have upgrades, but they don't need it. I don't know why Tyguy would run his refinery like this. Perhaps just to bring the bombers closer to the mothership or something? I'm expecting that to turn around, yeah. So yeah, the bombers are just getting absolutely massacred here. Even some Higaran scouts coming in with their... How much damage does one of these do? Yeah, 4 damage. 4 damage. But yeah, no, bombers are not going to last any amount of time against gunships. So Tyguy managing to get 3 patches, not really getting contested for it, and looks like he's gearing up for a very, very solid mid-game. I mean, he's massively far ahead at this point. He has that capital class facility as well, so looks like an early carrier rather than a switch into torpedoes. On Robey's end, yep, that is the correct response. He sees these gunships and he says, well, I'm just going to go into assault frigates then. Robey trying to send his bombers below the plane. Now, obviously I've talked about this a lot, you know, if he sends things below the plane it's technically inferior to above. However, people always send their like scouts and probes and stuff above the plane. Like, as you can see, Tyguy has one here. So if you send things below the plane, it's kind of like an anti-meta strategy, right? People are so fond of sending it above the plane that sending your units below the plane means they avoid detection like that. You know, I don't think the three-dimensional aspect of Homeworld plays in actually that much, but there are moves like this that you can do, which you can't really do in other RTS games. Okay, so Tyguy now does have his upgrades on the gunships. And I'm expecting that carrier to pop out. With another sniper attempt on this refinery, I don't think this is worth it at this point. The refinery costs... what is it, 800 something? 800 tonight. I'm pretty sure it's 800 for Higarans, right? And each one of these bombers actually costs 130. Right, so losing 8 bombers is, you've already tied with the cost. Although, I think if you lose about 12 bombers, maybe 12 to 14 bombers for a refinery, I think is a good trade, because you have to also take into consideration that they have to rebuild that refinery, otherwise they lose mining time. And during the rebuild, they also lose mining time guaranteed, so actually getting away with a lot of the bombers here. Tyguy was really slow to respond to that for some reason. And we actually see an assault frigate hyper-spaced into the front patch here of Tyguy. Tyguy going for this early carrier? I don't like it, you know? Mono gunship, very weak to what Homeworld 1 can do, which is the assault frigate rush. And as you can see, you know, Robey didn't make a single fighter beyond these few bombers. Has managed to cripple Tyguy's economy. This is a second assault frigate, I think. Yep, there's a second one jumping in over here. Not a fan of this. I feel like the assault frigate is not the torpedo frigate. On their own, they're quite unreliable at killing these collectors. If they're doubled up though, they're actually really good at it, so I'm not actually expecting too many collectors to die here. If these were together, I'd much prefer it. You know, if this one actually was over here, I feel like that'd be a lot better. Tyguy with these forward gunships now, probably trying to... I'm not sure why, maybe just trying to catch things on rally points or something like that. Obviously has this great vision. I'd like to see Robey just make one bomber, just to kill the probe. Tyguy does not have vision of these bombers, but... you know, they disappeared off into the fog over here, so he's either gonna... so Robey's either... if he disappears over here, he's either gonna go this way, or he's gonna go this way with them. And going this way is a non-factor for Tyguy, because it means his bombers are not in his base anymore, but going this way means, you know, he's swinging around on this patch. Which is probably why we saw Tyguy pull his gunships over here. This also means they can tack on a little bit of damage. I actually did see a collector go down this. Due to this long distance mining, of course. If there was a refinery, that wouldn't have happened, but they're also tacking on bonus damage to this assault frigate. Not much, but it's there. Of course, the MVPs here are the pulsars. Would much prefer to see torpedoes. I feel like, you know, Homeworld 1 is going to try and make grav wells at this point, right? So the torpedo frigate beats assault frigates. I think it does it better than pulsars, and it's also obviously not vulnerable to the grav well generator. First assault frigate does go down. That's quite impressive, you know? For a mono corvette style to be able to take out assault frigates like this, although it must be said it's because Robey was extraordinarily aggressive with their placement. As you can see now, this assault frigate is kind of mismicroed. It's shooting a collector which is docked up. This thing's never ever gonna die. It will actually die to these gunships before it kills that collector, so... There's the frigate facility from Tyguy, so, you know, he is aware. Pulsars were probably just a stopgap. Before he got his frigates actually rolling, he wanted some damage to be dealt to these assault frigates. He has 2 idle collectors here. These were ones that he docked earlier. He needs to be careful as well. This is 4 assault frigates pushing in on his base here. You know, was this 3-patch early style a bit too greedy, right? At this point, I'd honestly consider pulling my collectors and just surviving on 2 patches for now. Get a number of torpedoes and pulsars and try and take a good fight and then retake the patch. Robey probably does not want to be hitting the carrier. He could be softening it up for later, but I don't feel like that's going to work. But yeah, it is just basically mono assault frigate coming out of Robey here. He has the gravels, of course, to catch these corvettes. The thing about gravels, though, is people kind of overestimate them. You know, they do last a little while, and you do kill a couple of corvette squadrons, but they're very slow. They take up one of your build queues, and you can only actually have 4 of them on the field at once. So the fact that he doesn't already have another 2 means that if Tyguy just dodges out of here with most of his corvettes, he'll be okay. This is actually an iron cannon frigate from Tyguy. Not what I was expecting. I was expecting the pre-advanced module units to be coming out here. But I guess he's been on 3 patches for so long, he's been able to attack all the way up to advanced module. Not really too much of a fan of the iron frigate, though. I feel like iron frigates only really surpass torpedo frigates in the frigate battles when you have about like 6 or 7 of them. I think before that, honestly, the torpedo is better. Not only because it's able to deal with 2 unit types, namely the corvette and the frigate, it also kills collectors very well, it's faster, and it outranges most frigates. Whereas the iron frigate is really, you know, you're dedicating yourself to fighting frigates, and you're also dedicating yourself to taking losses, because iron frigates don't have the best range or move speed. These 2 collectors still just idle, not really sure why. Robey's probably going to notice that, and he looks like he's swinging around to shoot something here. Bombers from Robey actually sneak in at the back. I totally missed that, sorry. I did see them sharking around there, but I forgot to keep talking about them. They actually snuck in at the back here and killed that refinery yet again. This has been very annoying for Tyguy. But despite that, you know, Robey is still on 2 patches, Tyguy is on 3 patches. And Tyguy is just pushing Robey off here. Robey still with those mono assault frigates. Does have a couple of repair corvettes here, but it's too late, I think. You know, now that there's 5 iron frigates on the field, they could take this fight alone. And we're also seeing the destroyer in the fray here. So, Tyguy, I don't want to be presumptuous, but I feel like this is almost perhaps inspired by, maybe he watched Cloak's games? How the hell do you pluralize that name? But watching his games against Sovereign, where Cloaked played this exact style. You know, the iron frigates plus the destroyer to hold frigate pushes. I will say, of course, the scenario is very different. Obviously, he's not against Vega, and he did open with the gunships rather than interceptors. Repair corvette's not even repairing, probably just going to die here. Boom, there goes one. Don't think the other one's going to be able to survive either. Especially if it stops like that. So this is very tough for the Homeworld 1 player. I mean, what do you actually make in this scenario? You can't really go into heavy corvettes because torpedoes are amazing, and there's even pulsars on the field. You can't really make iron cannon frigates because you're at such a deficit of like just numbers of frigates that you don't have the time of day to pump out enough frigates to win that fight. So honestly, I feel like bombers, like mass fighter is your option here, because you know there are gunships, but you know your best hope is like the missile destroyer can deal with the gunships while fighters deal with the frigates. But honestly, I feel like Tyguy is in a almost, you know, he's almost got the checkmate here. Robey definitely needs to stall this game out somehow, you know, try some mine layers, try some annoying backstabs, things like that. Got to keep in this game for another at least 3 or 4 minutes, to be honest. You need to build up something to handle this kind of push. You know, it's coming in here now, and it's it looks kind of uncontested, right? The gunships now coming in from the rear. They will clear up all of these bombers. You know, the bombers doing decent damage to the frigates, but not that good. The assault frigates all go down here. There's a second destroyer boating in here, and a third carrier. I feel like the third carrier indicates that Tyguy is finished with his build, and he's happy with the units he's got, so he's not really researching anything else. Missile destroyer at the back here. There are several repair corvettes here. Salvage corvettes coming in from Robey, which is a good idea. But like I said, it's a bit too late, you know? There's enough here that I feel like they alone can actually deal with these salvage vets. I especially don't think they should be targeting the destroyer. I would much prefer them to actually go for the frigates, because the frigates are closer and you need less salvage vets to do it. You know, going all the way back here for the destroyer, it's going to move slower. These pulsars and gunships are just going to clear up your salvets. The missile destroyer actually not even attacking. I'm not sure what's happening with that. Hasn't fired a single shot. No, there we go. Wakes up. Fires off its missile barrage. Where's it going? Aimed at the corvettes. Of course, the repair corvettes are very helpful, but they're nothing like support frigates. So these bombers are actually very plentiful, I've noticed. You know, there's a couple of gunships not fighting over here. They went in for a sort of a harassment on this mineral line, but of course there was an assault frigate over here. Now, the thing about salvage corvettes, so you see these salvage corvettes are obviously not succeeding in actually salvaging this destroyer. What they are actually achieving here, though, despite that, is that this destroyer is unable to move. So this salvage corvettes are really, I don't know, Gearbox didn't really bother finishing development on salvage corvettes, really. I kind of feel like they were done, so they were good enough for campaign and then sort of abandoned. Because there's a lot of things that make you scratch your head about this unit. I could make a whole video on them, but this is one of the things, you know. If you have a single salvage corvette docked with your units, it will no longer be able to move. So this destroyer is actually completely helpless. It cannot deal with the salvage corvette by itself, and it also can't move. It can't hyperspace, it can't move, it can't cloak, it can't do anything. Missile destroyer going down now for Robey. So that was really his only way to deal with the corvettes from Tyguy. The repair corvettes, of course, with nothing to do now. And, you know, the attack bombers, which were so numerous just a second ago, these gunships have made short work of them. There goes another one. The carriers, hull defense, also helping a lot. And the frigates are just pushing on now. This carrier from Robey is, I have no idea how it's going to survive. There is a second carrier back there, and he has taken that third patch, but it's been so much later than Tyguy that... How is he going to pull back this military deficit? You know, he's got the production and economy equality, I'd say, right now, but he's so far behind in the military then that cheese didn't work. Yeah, I feel like it was especially ineffective because you put your assault frigates on separate patches. Putting them both on this patch would have been much more effective. I think the bombers actually did work. I feel like that actually cost Tyguy several thousand resources. But it was this late third patch and the inability to deal critical damage early that kind of let Tyguy snowball the game. Why do you have no money? This patch isn't mining properly, and you've only been mining from this patch for, I don't know, like a couple minutes. Collector's going down now. Here goes the carrier, and honestly, at this point, as Homeworld 1, it's time to tap out. Losing a carrier actually ends the game for Homeworld 1. Especially in a 1v1, they're nothing like the Homeworld 2 carriers. You really can't compare these two units. Anyway, that's game 1 to Tyguy though, on Arm for Barrel. Now this was Tyguy's pick. Robey's pick is coming up next, that'll be Shield. So I wonder if the game's going to swing in a different direction that time. Tyguy's a player, I will say he likes the triple patch style. I think he's always happiest when he's got 3 patches. He plays best on maps like this, where you can get these 3 patches. On Shield though, of course you have the 2 patches. It could be said though, you know, that second patch on Shield is, you know, it's a big patch, right? So it's almost like 1.5 patches. But Robey has been destroyed for game 1. So 1-0 to Tyguy. Of course, this is the elimination phase, so these are best of 3 series. So we might just see one more game where Tyguy wins again, or we might go to a game 3, you know, if Robey takes that next game. I will say that, you know, this game from Tyguy, quite convincing. And, you know, you can see it right there. You know, Tyguy, with this, in a 1v1, this is, wow, that's an enormous economy lead. And it was just because he got that 3rd patch so much earlier than Robey. 3 refineries built though, I mean, that's very annoying. These bombers were actually really useful for Robey. Anyway, let's get that host up and bring it back to the classic, to Shield. Alright, game 2 between Tyguy and Robey. This is Robey's pick, Shield. An absolute classic map. I mean, this is a Homeworld 2 classic map. It's a Homeworld Remastered classic map. It's been there since the dawn of time. It's a very simplistic map. I think it's quite linear, and it lends itself to a very specific style of play. But you know, that's why we have more than one map, right? It's not a bad thing to have a map that lends itself to a particular style, because you can just use other maps to find other styles. But anyone who's played Homeworld Remastered in a 1v1 capacity definitely knows about Shield.
Enemy motherships.
So we got Tyguy over here in the purple and green, with the yellow tactical overlay, and over here, rocking the black and red. Oh yeah, in the red tactical overlay as well. How about that, thematic? We've got Robey. Now Robey is the Kushan, and Tyguy is the Higaran. Both of these are picks that we've not seen yet, I believe, outside of the lower bracket, I mean. And a scout from Robey now. Has that always been like that? The scout just says scout? Huh. Didn't it used to say reconnaissance or something? Maybe I'm getting confused with the Homeworld 2 scout. Anyway, we've got the carrier moving out, the carrier moving out. Very, very, very standard stuff. This is Shield, not expecting anything too spicy in the first 3 minutes, I'd say. Unless we see an int rush or something, but I don't really feel like either player is going for that. Although Robey does have that very, very, very fast research ship. Like, this is about as fast as Homeworld 1 can make the research ship. Tyguy with no such intentions, just making collectors. You know, as I said, he does prefer to make a game head into the mid game. I feel like he's most comfortable with that style. Now, that doesn't mean he is bad at rushing or bad at playing super late game. I feel like he's just inclined towards those mid game pushes. So likely going to see him go for like 8 or 9 collectors here. I feel like that'll be his happy place here. Whereas Robey, I feel like Robey is kind of similar, although he's a little bit more aggressive in the early to mid game. Not seeing any tech from him yet though, even though he did get a very early research ship. It could be that he's going frigates first. Oh no, it's actually corvettes first. Interesting. So Robey with the fast corvettes. Now I feel like this could work, but it could also totally backfire depending on how many he makes. Higaran is one of the races in the game which have very solid answers for corvettes, but they don't really build too quickly. You know, both the torpedo frigate and the pulsar gunship will murder most corvettes. But neither of them are very quick to produce. You know, like the Vega can research lance fighters and then start pumping those very quickly. For Homeworld 1, generally you're not too far from any corvette counter. If you've got frigates in any capacity, you can start making assault frigates right off the bat. And the missile destroyer is, of course, very popular. But for Higarin, you know, they need to deal with this as soon as they see it. You know, he can't idle here. He did get that research module a few seconds ago, so I'm imagining he's throwing up. I mean, we'll have to see. It could be double corvette, it could be frigate corvette, it could be double frigate. There's a lot of ways this could go. It could even be forward platforms with corvettes from the back, or some mixture of that, because gun platforms actually deal reasonably well with light corvettes. I mean, I won't lie and say they're incredible. You'd much rather have torpedoes or pulsars, but the gun platforms do sizable damage to the light corvettes. Of course, the light corvettes only have 900 hit points, which sounds like quite a lot for a strike craft. I mean, consider the Scout has 60. But they're a lot bigger and they move a lot slower, so they take a lot more hits. There's just a light corvette rush. Chipping away now at the collectors. Definitely wants to focus fire here. Doesn't want to split his attention like this. Also, in this situation, it's very easy. It wouldn't take you even half a second. Just grab these two, put them in a formation. Grab these two, put them in a formation. As they're coming in, grab them, formation. It actually ups their damage sizably. Yeah, it's very noticeable. But it is actually the torpedo frigates on the front and on the back from Tyguy, so doubling into torpedo frigates. I don't like that. I feel like it just invites Homeworld 1 to start mixing bombers in with their corvettes. At this point, if I'm Robey, I'm seeing the double frigates, and I'm saying, fine, I'll just go into double fighters. I would much prefer to see corvettes plus torpedoes or something like that. So Robey actually did kill a collector there, I believe. One of the lights goes down. I would not turn and flee at this point, and especially I wouldn't start fighting the torpedo frigate. That's definitely the wrong call. Could have killed this collector, gets to the dock. Heavy corvettes on the field now for Robey, so he's actually committed into corvettes. I don't like that. You know, if you're seeing double torpedo frigate, there's no, like, Higarin is all in on fighting corvettes at this point. They're not doing anything else. Platforms from Tyguy on the front as well. So Tyguy, yeah, and there's the double fighters from Robey. Very good response. Although Tyguy seems to sort of be predicting it, and he is apparently starting to make gun platforms. I'm not expecting iron platforms in this situation. There's nothing for an iron platform to fight. But we do see the 4 torpedoes on the field now. These light corvettes are going to get nothing done. The attack bombers now on the field. They will do good damage to these torpedoes. Again, grab them, put them in formation. The damage they do is significantly higher. I wouldn't grab the corvettes and take this fight right now. Although, I guess it could keep Tyguy honest. If you actually kill a lot of his torpedoes, he can't take the time of day to start making gun platforms here. Many of them are actually heavy corvettes. In fact, all of these are heavy corvettes. Oh, that changes things. I actually thought about half of these were light corvettes. But they are actually all of them heavy corvettes. Looking fly. Now, heavy corvettes, especially against unupgraded torpedo frigates, they will win this fight. Especially if they're using their burst ability. And mixed in with the bombers, it's almost overkill. So Tyguy's probably thinking to himself, well, I made double frigates, right, against corvettes. Surely I should be winning. Honestly, you made too many frigates. Just 4 frigates was easily enough, and then just hold back and continue playing your game. Because Homeworld 1 has committed a lot into this. And if you just stop them from attacking, they've committed this much into army. Whereas you're still tacking up and gathering resources and such. Now, these gun platforms are obviously going to go down very quickly, so are these torpedo frigates. And honestly, this has been a bit of a blunder from Tyguy. You know, if you talked to me about 3 minutes ago, I'd say, you know, Tyguy, he managed to hold that pretty well. But I would have massively preferred corvettes plus torps. And just to hold here, like, just hold him off. There was really no need to make this like 6 torpedo frigates was such overkill, and especially if you trickle them apart like this. You know, there were 2 over here, there was 1 over here, there was one over here, there were 2 here or something like that. You know, they were all over the place. They could have actually taken this fight with the heavy corvettes if they were all at the front and they were kiting, but obviously we didn't see that happen. Gun platform now is just going to die. This torpedo is going to die. They do finally have the armor upgrade, which is another thing he should have waited for. Torpedo frigates actually go fairly even. In fact, slightly ahead, I'd say, against the heavy corvettes if they have that armor upgrade. Otherwise, you know, without the armor upgrade, honestly, they're so fragile. Robey now gunning at this research module. And Tyguy with no answer for bombers. Absolutely no answer. His only answer is gun platforms, and he only has the platform module on the carrier. And the carrier is completely surrounded by heavy corvettes. A lot of these are very low on hit points. I think it really wouldn't... Yeah, see, some of them are going down. Heavy corvettes are quite expensive, like 200 and something. It really wouldn't hurt to just dock a couple of these. Bombers killing the torpedoes before they're able to do anything here. And honestly, there's no reason for Robey to even do anything else. He does have that frigate tech now, but at this point I would stick with the heavies and the bombers because Tyguy's been overwhelmed. He has no room to make any other units. And we're seeing, you know, it's about 9 minutes into the game and it's over. I'm thinking it's over. Like, what is Tyguy going to do here? He really overcommitted with these torpedoes. 6 was too many, and spreading them all out like this was really sloppy. And Tyguy calls the GG. So yeah, well, this is actually a 1-1 already. That was a very, very fast shield game. That really didn't go anywhere. Robey takes that one, and it leaves the scoreline at 1-1. So the next game is anybody's game. It will, of course, be Tyguy's map pick. We will be going to Angel Wing, I believe, if I check my notes. Yes, Angel Wing. So, as opposed to Shield, Angel Wing is a very macro-heavy map, so we might see the exact opposite of this play out. But who knows? Who knows? You know, if you pick a macro map and then rush someone, that can actually throw them for a loop. But we're seeing you know, there was no real reason that Tyguy lost except that he just overproduced on a unit type and didn't get his upgrades early and kind of misplayed them. Because he's not really far behind in economy or anything like that. But yeah, very well played by Robey, made the exact correct units, and wasn't afraid to capitalize on his opponent's mistakes. So yeah, GG there. Okay, this is the final game between Tyguy and Robey. So game 1 was a bit... I feel like both of these games have ended very quickly because the players in both games have really all-in on something very hard and kind of miscontrolled it, kind of mistimed it, and have just ended up sort of petering out, I think is the best way to describe it. So both the games actually ended in quite short order. It's been quite savage, really. Huh.
Destroy enemy motherships.
Sorry, I just had to check that everyone was okay with these positions. They do seem to be fine. I believe the tournament rules actually indicate this position against this position. But we're playing here and here. I honestly, on Angel Wing, really don't feel like we're going to see any difference in the game. Both players seem okay with this, so if both players are okay with it, I'm personally okay with it, so we're just going to roll with it. We've got Tyguy, obviously, in the yellow, with the purple and green, playing Higaran, against Robey over here in the black and red, playing Kushan. Ghosts from the past. Now Robey, of course, getting these probes and all of the dust clouds very, very early on. I feel like this is too early on. You know, I don't know. I just don't feel like you need the vision here and here yet. And it kind of takes away from any early moves you could make. You know, because this is 400 IUs, right? But I'm also not particularly opposed to it. feel like it's just about fine. Tyguy also with the very strong commitment to vision early on. You know, Higaran scouts cost 300 each, so getting 2 of them here, that's a resource collector. And honestly, I feel like you only really need 1. Although I can understand too, because you can have 1 on the defensive, clearing out probes, and 1 on the offensive, getting vision. However, this defensive one, of course, hasn't even spotted this scout from Robey. And obviously isn't even scouring these bushes for probes. What's Robey up to? Not much. He's got that early research ship again, but doesn't appear to be using it. Or if he is, then he's only just begun using it, I'd say. And I tell a complete lie, it must have been at least 50 seconds since he started using it, because we do see the fighters. So early fighters from Robey. Now Tyguy does see this, he's just come in with his scout, so he definitely sees this. Tyguy, of course, with no technology. Now, the thing about Angel Wing is, as you can see, it's very insular with your positioning. It's, I feel like it's incredibly difficult on this map to actually push in on an opponent, because they have access to so many RUs in such a defensible position. Tyguy actually does see this scout, but I doubt he'll catch it. Speed boosted Homeworld 1 scout, getting out of there sharpish. Both players just taking it easy, I feel. Robey with these early bombers again, we saw this in game 1. So he's trying to pull it out in game 3 here on Angel Wing, but I feel like the dynamic is different. On Armed for Burial, the 3rd patch is quite far away, so things get quite spaced out. The bombers have a lot of room to come in and make those snipes. Whereas I feel like on Angel Wing,
No problem. No problem.
it's probably going to be quite a lot riskier. It's going to be a lot tougher to actually make these bombers worthwhile. Tyguy with the research module. Still no modules or unit production facilities from Tyguy. Oh, there we go. There's the corvette facilities. So yeah, Tyguy, judging by these corvette facilities, I'm not expecting any aggressive moves from him. The gunships aren't going to be able to get over here before something is made to stop them, but they will be able to stop any rushes from these bombers coming over to this side. I'm really expecting 22 collectors on 3 patches for both players. Scouts now getting cleared out. Now the speed boost... Oh, no, these are actually interceptors rather than scouts. Definitely want to use scouts to clear up scouts, for Homeworld 1 at least, because your scouts can speed boost, which lets them catch up to opposing scouts. Aha! So Tyguy with the double corvettes, Robey says, alright, well this is game 1 all over again. You're making corvettes, I'm going to make frigates. Now will we see him jump his frigates again? Tyguy did not have an inhibitor in that game, and those frigates landed right on his RU patches. They were both placed on the same RU patch, which I feel like... sorry, they were placed on different RU patches, whereas they should have been placed on the same RU patch. So if Robey actually doubles up one of these patches, he should get quite a few kills. There is a capital class facility for Tyguy now. Is that a carrier, or is that a destroyer? I'm thinking it's a carrier based on how many collectors we're seeing. If you were making destroyers at this point, you'd be floating a lot of money. So the frigates are probably going to pop very soon. We do see collectors still being created from Robey here. I mean, it's Angel Wing. You know, there's no chance that people are not going to be making collectors on this map. Just waiting for these frigates from Robey. I feel like that's the first major thing that's going to happen. Of course, he could decide just to stay at home with them, or he may in fact not be building frigates. He may be just teching through them to get to capitals. Tyguy with a refinery here, so looking to take a 3rd patch. These interceptors still trying to catch the scout. Even with all that bonus speed, they... Well, that's not all that bonus speed. 487 against 486, right? Still no frigates, really. I feel like there should have been the assaults by now, right? Kind of unsure. We'll have to see. These bombers are... Where are the bombers? There are the bombers. So the interceptor's running through the middle. A lot of interceptors running through the middle. I'm not even sure if Tyguy's made any gunships. He does have that inhibitor, though, on his carrier. So that's going to stop any hyperspacing in frigates. A grav well from Robey here, so no assault frigates. Interesting. I wonder what we'll see from him then. So there are actually docked corvettes here. Tell a lie. I thought maybe he just made the modules as a threat and didn't actually make any units. Interceptors dropping like flies here. This is 3 gunships. Attack bombers over on the right in the dust cloud. Tyguy does not see any of these clouds. Because Robey... I know he doesn't because Robey's probes are all uncontested. So Robey has complete vision of this map. Whereas Tyguy really only sees anything his scouts see. You know, the blue circles, that's all that Tyguy sees. Bombers on the right for Robey coming in. Tyguy's, all of his gunships are moving over here, so these bombers could get something done conceivably. I doubt it. I mean, the gunships are heading back now. I don't even know really what's on this map for bombers to be shooting. We don't see any expensive modules on the mothership or anything like that. The best thing to kill at this point would be the capital class facility, but I mean the gunships are right here, so... Okay, so an assault frigate on the field for Robey. I think there was a second that just hyperspaced away. Could be RU blocked, maybe that's why he hasn't jumped the second one. It will bump into an inhib field, as you can see. Here it is. Takes 10% of its life. Ouch. So interceptors now, you know, the bombers are over here doing whatever they're doing, dying, it looks like. Whereas the interceptors are over here trying to kill one of these collectors. These interceptors look like they're an evasive. I'm trying to judge. It's difficult to tell if Homeworld 1 interceptors are an evasive or not. I think they must be, based on how far away they fly when they make their passes. I could be completely wrong though. In any case, I don't think he got any collector kills here, or if he did, it was just 1. So 1 collector kill for all of these bombers that died, definitely not worth it. Also probably lost 1 or 2 interceptors to the refinery. This assault frigate is sitting sadly in the middle of the field, nothing to do. Robey's still on 2 patches, very strange. You know, if you're not planning to push, you could have easily taken a 3rd patch. Just stick a controller on it, saturate it. And these Angel Wing patches can actually handle many, many collectors. I feel like this is perhaps slightly too many though. When you start getting things like this happening, and it's a bit dicey. Assault frigate's now just slow boating it over to the other side of the field. Nope. They stop, they turn around. So Robey sort of, he had an idea here. This Gravwell kind of indicates that. So perhaps he was trying to bait all of these gunships in here and get a Gravwell off and snipe all the gunships and things like that, but doesn't seem to be committing to that anymore. Sort of going to the left here, going to the right, going to the left, moving all around, doing a sort of dance, not really sure what he's up to. Tyguy with the destroyer. So the time for assault frigates to be super useful is probably ended. Robey does have his own capital class facility, so probably going to see that carrier pop out pretty soon. Now if I'm Robey, I'm thinking I'm going to go heavy cruisers, because I'm seeing destroyers from my opponent. I haven't seen a shipyard from my opponent, so Higarans can get their cruiser at like 10 minutes or something like that. Whereas the Homeworld 1 faction is not going to get a cruiser for a long time. However, it's been so long into the game at this point that I feel like the race could actually be on. And Tyguy is already committed into destroyers, so I feel like there's a window here for Robey. Homeworld 1 cruisers with support frigates definitely beats Homeworld 2 cruisers, and they definitely beat Homeworld 2 destroyers, so we'll have to see. Tyguy has the speed upgrade, I think, but no armor upgrade. He does have a probe in this cloud over here. Looks like Robey's actually not noticed that. It's hard to tell where these interceptors are going. I feel like they're actually aiming over here. It's quite possible that neither of these probes actually sees the other. Probes do see well in clouds, but I feel like they might only see up to about here-ish, right? So, neither player actually realizing the other has vision in this cloud. Yep, Tyguy once again with this Iron Cannon Frigate plus Destroyer combination. A lot of frigate facilities, so he's just all-inning on these Iron Frigates. And honestly, he has so much time in this game. I think we might even see defense field frigates. Still no carrier from Robey. This is 13 minutes in. This is a kind of a standard time to see the Homeworld 1 carrier pop out. But I feel like on Angel Wing you can get it a little bit earlier because you get so many collectors, right? You've got so much income. So here it is actually, yep, 13:10, there's the carrier. Definitely possible to get that maybe a minute or two earlier, but certainly not a late carrier. Which is why I've had people say to me recently, you know, like, oh, if I lose a whole bunch of stuff to kill a Homeworld 1 carrier, it's like even trade or something like that. It's definitely not. Homeworld 1 carriers, you cannot lose a carrier as Homeworld 1 before about like 7 minutes, I'd say. You will actually just lose the game instantly. Even at this stage of the game where carrier production is on the field, losing a carrier for Homeworld 1 can actually be curtains. Tyguy is sending a gunship squadron over here. I feel like this probe actually isn't even in the dust cloud, right? It looks like it's outside of it. So it will just get cleared up. Tyguy sees that second carrier popping out. And it looks like Robey was not really making anything spicy. I believe a research ship doesn't take that long. So like, I feel like he was building this research ship in tandem with the carrier, which indicates he's not building a different type of capital class ship from his mothership. So no cruisers are in production or anything like that, and we do see the shipyard from Tyguy. So I'm getting worried for Robey, you know? Where is his cruisers? Because against the Higaran player, Homeworld 1 actually doesn't have many options. You know, what are you supposed to do against the late game Higaran? There goes a scout squadron again, so Tyguy is blind once more. But I feel like Robey's vision has also been cleared up, right? Now, these probes don't apparently see each other, so Robey does have vision. I think he may just be clipping vision of this carrier, but I think it's a bit dicey. Probably sees that destroyer, but I'm kind of putting its vision radius about here, so it's a bit questionable. But he definitely doesn't see anything back here. You know, Tyguy's got a big web of probes at this point. Would like to see a probe here as well, but both players kind of denying vision better than they are acquiring it. So Robey with the mass iron frigates needs that heavy cruiser. Seriously, you need that heavy cruiser. Or, you know, your alternative here is, if your opponent makes too many iron frigates, you can actually unload 42 heavy corvettes and try and win the game that way. So it looks like Tyguy is really committing to destroyers, although I have yet to see a destroyer come out of this shipyard. So this shipyard actually may be producing a battlecruiser. If Tyguy can get a battlecruiser, I honestly am very worried for Robey. You know, Tyguy has the iron frigates, he has destroyers, he has gunships, his tech is just higher level than Robey's right now. Robey, I don't know why he's on 2 patches. Like, take a 3rd patch, man. These patches don't handle 11 collectors each. They handle about 10 at most. 9 is better. 8 is probably ideal. Tyguy getting ready to push in now, which indicates to me he may in fact have a cruiser coming out. I'd like to see a hyperspace module on the shipyard to get cruisers into the fight as fast as possible. Robey sending a probe in now. If this probe sees the shipyard, I don't know what Robey's going to do, because, you know, unless this is a cruiser being built here, and it's not. Look at that. This iron frigate just came out, and this destroyer just came out, and it's not even a real. Oh no, it is a real destroyer. I thought it was a missile destroyer, but no cruiser is in production. This is getting really dicey here, and Tyguy actually cloaks his shipyard. Oh blimey, that's savage. All of these attack bombers came in to try and get a kill on this capital class facility, and they are now just flying around doing nothing because that shipyard actually cloaked itself. They'll just take the concession prize of a collector, which actually goes down pretty quick. Bombers do kill collectors fairly quickly, it's just that, you know, they can be chased down by interceptors, so that's why you really don't see them very much. Against someone who's going gunships though, you can actually use bombers with reasonable effectiveness against collectors. They also kill the refineries pretty well, of course. Okay, so Tyguy at the front. I'll try and watch both of these things happening at once, because it looks like this fight is about to break out. All of these are assault frigates, they're all going to go down. Robey trying to take out this refinery. I don't think he's actually going to get it. This is just slightly too many gunships. Oh, he might get it on this return pass, it's very hard to tell. I will watch this instead of this, because I feel like this is very important. It does go down, okay, and now the fight begins over here. So we've got iron frigates. I feel like this is a lot of iron frigates. Homeworld 1 iron frigates are superior to the Higaran ones. They also have, well, there's only one support frigate. 2 support frigates now. These need to get healing, of course. I would like to see the iron frigates from Homeworld 1 actually perhaps swing their guns and actually shoot the destroyers, because the iron frigates from Homeworld 1 actually massacre heavy armor. They do a lot worse against medium armor, but they've got the best damage per frigate in the game against heavy armor. But it's a tough call to make, you know. You don't really want to be shooting the destroyers because they're mostly damage sponges. So is it worth shooting the frigate still, or is it worth making use of your higher DPS against the heavy armor? It's a tough call to make. The destroyer now as well from Robey. So for my money, I'd get the destroyer killing the iron frigates as well as the assault frigates, and just get my iron frigates to take out these destroyers. I also feel like this is a bit preemptive from Tyguy, you know, especially because his carriers are back here, right? What are you aiming for here? You could have just waited for your cruiser, and you definitely should have brought your production up to meet your army here. This is a fight that went worse for Tyguy than it definitely should have gone. This should have actually been a fairly convincing push in from Tyguy, but Robey's able to hold it fairly convincingly. Obviously he needs to get these support frigates back over here so they can start healing wounded units. This one's just going to go down for no reason. This one's not doing anything either. Also in this scenario, much prefer to see the repair corvette, because of course iron frigates can't shoot repair corvettes very easily. The frigate's now getting thinned out significantly for Tyguy, so this push has actually been stalled quite significantly. We are seeing that cruisers on the field though. What are these interceptors doing? The gunships are on the way, so these interceptors lost their window, I'd say. They probably had a window to take out 2 collectors here, but they lost it. Especially with the PD from the shipyard, in addition to these gunships. I don't think we're going to see any collectors go down here. The fight at the front's still happening, although it's not really convincing for Tyguy anymore. He's lost all of his iron frigates. Even if this cruiser is here, I'm actually scared for the cruiser. These are Homeworld 1 iron frigates. This is not a Higaran iron frigate. Another support frigate for some reason. None of these support frigates have actually been used to heal units. They've all just run forward and died. This one goes down, this one's going to go down. Yeah, and imagine if we saw a heavy cruiser pop out in the next couple of minutes from Robey. He could actually hold this. These interceptors just dying over here. You might say, oh well, it's no problem because these interceptors weren't doing anything in this game anyway. That's not true. These interceptors being alive kept these gunships back. Now that the gunships don't have anything to deal with at home, they can actually swing forward and start killing collectors. Oh, there's the heavy cruiser! Alright, Robey, just gather your forces, don't rush in. Don't do what Tyguy just did. Take your time. Get your heavy cruiser up the front. Imagine if he still had all of his support frigates alive. Wouldn't that be great? But yeah, here we go, he's detaching from the fight. These assault frigates obviously don't want to... Oh dear, I feel like he hasn't noticed that these are flying in. Whoopsie daisy. Yep, these are going to die. At least 2 or 3 of these are going to die. Does grab them now? Maybe none of them will die in that case. I was kind of expecting them to just fly in and die like that. Cruiser is over here waiting for kills to come to it. Support frigate at the back here, so there is a small amount of healing available for this cruiser now. At this point, you know, just spam repair corvettes. There's no reason to be building support frigates at this juncture. I feel like support frigates are really intended to be used with destroyers and cruisers, whereas the repair corvettes is best for frigates. Whoa, a lot of damage being laid down on this destroyer here. Yeah, really fast healing rate. So the cruiser is in the fight now. Both the cruisers actually arrived in this fight at the same time. Tyguy, and here it is. This is exactly what I was just mentioning. Now that there's no fighters in Tyguy's base, these gunships are just free to come in from the sides and kill every collector. Although, you know, Robey does have these assault frigates, and he did keep these alive. He didn't send them in to die to iron frigates, and that could play a huge factor in this game. In fact, it could even win him the game. If he keeps these back and protects his patches from these gunships, then he'll be in good shape. Because I feel like this is a losing fight for Tyguy at this point. This cruiser, I mean, it's got no upgrade. It's got no upgrade. It's getting focused down, and these iron frigates are doing a hell of a lot more damage to it than anything on Tyguy's side of the field. The bombers from Robey pulling back now, I'd love to see these swing around to the back and just start killing things like carriers. A destroyer goes down, but this cruiser trades with it. Losing a destroyer for a cruiser, that's an AOK trade. It would be, I gotta say though, you need these destroyers from Tyguy. There have been a lot of them for a long time. There's actually maxed out on destroyers at this point. So these frigates, they are dying very quickly. It's this heavy cruiser that Robey needs to be, Tyguy needs to deal with. And I don't see a hyperspace module on this shipyard. So this battlecruiser, if it was here right now, perhaps a different story. But you know, we're seeing this support frigate's really out of position, but. You know, get some repair corvettes, dude. No reason to be making support frigates. They're just going to die to the iron frigates. So the Homeworld 1 cruiser is a much more general unit than the Homeworld 2 battle cruiser. Because the battle cruiser tends to overkill a lot, especially the Vega battle cruiser, right? Using Vega cruisers against frigates is huge overkill. They miss a lot of their shots and they overkill the frigates massively. Whereas the Homeworld 1 cruiser, I feel like most of its damage is actually in its kinetic guns, so it's actually able to very efficiently spread its damage out across frigates and destroyers alike. These iron frigates, I'm not sure what they're doing. They're trying to go over here for some reason. Maybe he's trying to snipe this carrier, which is out of position. Tyguy has noticed this, so I feel like this carrier will escape. Oh, man, please just make some repair corvettes. It's really it's kind of tilting, huh? He's almost like giving up and making repairing units because he's like, oh, my support frigates keep dying. This destroyer is going to get focused down here. I don't think it was actually kited. I feel like Robey just switched targets. A lot of bombers are hitting this carrier now. There are a lot of gunships here, though. I feel like this carrier should be okay. But it will hamper Tyguy quite a lot to lose a carrier at this stage of the game. You know, you can add the costs of these units against each other and say, oh, well, the bombers are more expensive than the carrier. And actually, usually I'd agree. But during this phase of the game, where the fight is actually happening right here, losing a carrier can actually lose you the game. So one destroyer goes down. Destroyers without a cruiser to back them up are dead meat. Second destroyer goes down. Iron frigates are just going to get popped. Like, these have no business being over here. Yeah, I feel like we're seeing some inexperience, perhaps from both players, in how to handle these late game fights. You know, Robey with the Support frigates, not really, shouldn't be building those. And Tyguy, you know, just getting really too trigger happy. You know, he came over here with no production, no cruiser, and just started taking a fight for... I really don't know why he did that. So he's actually lost 2 of his destroyers here. This one's quite low. This iron frigate's probably gonna die. Looks like it might get out. This one's gonna die though. I mean, this Balcora is just gonna snipe it. Unless it's trained on one of those destroyers, which would be a good idea as well, but I mean, at this point, just kill it, right? Boom, there it goes. Bomber's now getting good chip damage on these Higaran destroyers. All these gunships from Tyguy unable to make any real dent on Robey's economy here. You know, he's had the inferior economy for this whole game, but Tyguy just kinda... I don't know why he didn't wait for his cruiser. That was really... If he just waited for his cruiser, I feel like this could have been a completely different game. As it stands, you know, this could be Robey's game. He has 2 cruisers on the front here. One of them was getting quite low, but I feel like he could just pull it back, make a couple of support frigates, heal it up. There's no problems here. Bombers now swinging right through the center here. Gunships unable to catch them. The gunships I feel like are really great if you're using them offensively, but for defensive play I feel like the interceptors, right? Because the gunships, look at them, they just can't. They're completely unable to keep up with the bombers. Mothership's still producing destroyers. I really wouldn't be making destroyers at this point. Seeing this unit composition, I'm kind of tempted to just mass iron frigates. Another thing we didn't see from Tyguy, right? I said, you know, he's got so much time, he should make defense fields. Where are the defense fields? Where's the defense field? Has he got a fire control? Where are the fire controls? A lot of the advantages that Homeworld 2 has over Homeworld 1 are not being used by Tyguy here. He's just trying to take a straight up fight and Robey's gonna win. You know, these double cruisers are out on the field now. This one needs to be careful. Really don't know why he's not making support frigates. He's got a couple of idle... No, these are there to defend against corvettes. I thought they were iron frigates. They are the assault frigates from before. And another cruiser goes down. Battlecruiser, he does have that hyperspace module at this point. Bomber's unable to actually get 2 significant damage down. Didn't able to kill this carrier or anything, but they did kill a refinery over here, as you can see, before the gunships were able to deal with it. You know, you need to leave like 3 or 4 gunships over here and use the rest of them for your offensive maneuvers. This cruiser getting focused down, it probably will go down. Probably shouldn't have lost it, you know, in this kind of scenario. Why are you losing a cruiser? If Tyguy comes back into this game, it's honestly because Robey is not controlling his units very well. I don't want to be like hypercritical of players, but this is really poor. Like, you want this cruiser to be over here, shooting these frigates from a distance, whereas this cruiser can be your central piece. Manages to trade a cruiser though, which is honestly shocking. Like, I don't feel like Tyguy should have lost this cruiser at all. And Robey's cruiser is just getting focused down. This is swung in the other direction. Suddenly, Robey is just completely behind. He's got a lot of bombers, but you know, bombers don't do that much damage, honestly. Frigates getting picked off here. Without the frigates, it will be difficult to actually... Oh, and he actually... Oh, wow. I couldn't tell if Robey had a... Does he have a proxy or what? I can't tell. I don't see a proxy. It could have just been unlucky timing. But, you know, now that this cruiser's gone down, these frigates are really dangerous. These destroyers, I have no idea why you would target the mothership. Definitely kill these iron frigates first. Make repair corvettes, make repair corvettes, make repair corvettes, make repair corvettes. Please. Bomber's trying to get a kill on this capital class facility over here. It is quite low, but I don't think they're going to get it. This is pretty much maxed out gunships. I don't think it was building any cruiser though, because we just see a refinery here. Or it could have been paused. The mothership definitely should not have been your target here. This is how to throw a game 101. We've just seen a throw from Tyguy, and now we're seeing the reverse throw from Robey. Bomber's doing decent damage, but if they're not in formations, I feel like they kinda suck. Yeah, so obviously this mothership is not even close to going down. Really, 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 really not the idea that you want to go for. And so Tyguy is about to pop that battlecruiser again, and we're about to see the fight restart, and at this point, Robey has nothing. You know, at least before he had like 10 or so iron frigates backed up. At this point, he has nothing. What's he gonna do when this cruiser comes out? Which it is coming. It's coming in very soon. A minute? 30 seconds? A minute? I don't know, but it's coming. These destroyers are beaten up a little bit, but none of them are really close to going down. Robey actually mines out one of his patches, kinda. Oh, this is such a poor timing to mine out as well. Oh dear. Oh dear. No repair corvettes. Targeting the mothership. Mismicroing the battlecruisers. You know, he's got to be asking himself, why did I lose? And there are reasons aplenty. Oh dear, that was Robey's only grav well. Oh god. If this cruiser comes out, it can actually hyperspace right over here. It can hyperspace right here. This destroyer's not even fighting. I have no idea what it's doing. Wow. You know, Tyguy, he messed up so many times in a row. I thought Robey's surely going to take this, but then Robey throws it in reverse. I don't believe it. Oh, Tyguy just pushing in with these pens of destroyers here. Robey's destroyer going to go down. I feel like Tyguy's going to lose one of his own, but at this point, you know, it's I don't feel like it matters. Oh, good lord. The only thing that can no, there's a cruiser from Tyguy even, and that's just jumped. It's jumping right now, and this is the herald of destruction for Robey. Once this cruiser reaches the field, it's over. There's nothing he can do. And here it is, right on the front lines. Robey calls the GG, and he's knocked out. The battlecruiser is completely uncontested. Robey calls the GG, and he's knocked out of Balcora Cup. Makes it all the way to winners, but falls to Tyguy. Wasted too much RU on Boom Buzz, I think. Sorry, Katink. Yeah. Probably shouldn't be drinking beers before you play your tournament matches, right? I don't think he cares though. Yeah, really fun game at the end there. Kind of painful to watch. Not to say that like either of these players play poorly, you know, that far from it. Both of these guys are definitely high-level players, but as a spectator, I'm obviously free to be a smarmy asshole and be like, oh, well, you should have done this. But honestly, yeah, definitely huge mistakes coming out from both players. You know, no defense fields, no fire controls, nothing like that, and it was just yeah, I don't know. But anyway, that's gonna wrap it up. So Tyguy takes the series 2-1. And yeah, high-level matchups. The first two games were very fast, and that last game was very long, so a good mix of stuff happening there. But anyway, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao, ciao!